Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a cancer dead. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. Seen an orphan find a home. Never seen the weak find the strength. I promise you will change his name.
What's up, everybody? Now's the time. Now is the time. Big times, big things happening on the Big C, Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T, Travis Johnson, coming at you with my man, my partner, Clint Clark. How you doing, Clint?
And I'm fantastic. I didn't do it before we started, but almost, because sometimes their names appear on these Zoom screens, and I was going to put not Bart Reed. I'd like to thank Bart Reed. Bart Reed, because my mom needed us to take Dad to the. They were moving him from Little Baptist, the Baptist in Conway, to Big Baptist, and man, I forget how old Big Baptist is, but I was sketched out by their elevators. I really was. The only elevator I can tell you I've ever been in that sketched me out more than the Baptist elevators in Little Rock were Circus Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. And if I'm comparing your elevator to Circus, it is not good. It's just. But yeah, Bart covered for me last week. I appreciate Bart Reed. It was the first Big C podcast.
Yeah.
But Dad is actually home. They shocked his heart. He's actually home today. They are going to do a valve replacement, but all in all, he's also well enough to go home, so doing better. Not completely out of the woods, but is doing better. So
good deal.
I'd like to thank everyone for their thoughts, prayers, positive vibes, whatever you sent my way. I do definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good to hear Big Tom Clark is doing better and at home. I know Miss Sue's probably going with the artificial sweetener and the Kool-Aid right now.
Yeah,
she's probably not giving him straight sugar.
He's definitely on the artificial side of things for sure.
That's right, yeah. Well, man, Clint, is there anything going on in Razorback sports? Anything?
Man, I tell you what, it is
anything big going on?
It is a strange time when spring football practice is going on and you have your first true quarterback battle ever.
Yeah.
And when you get to this podcast, it is coming in number 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Coming in number 3 because holy shnikes, Travis.
Yeah.
Holy, what a chain of events we had. Southern Methodist University. Yeah. That juggernaut of a program.
Yeah. Started this whole daggum thing.
They fired their coach.
Yeah.
So they look at the guy at USC and like, that's our guy.
There you go. Let's hire him.
That's our guy. Let's go get him.
He could get Bronny James for a year and put up subpar stats. Let's get him.
Just whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get a media circus here in Dallas.
Yeah.
So they end up hiring USC's coach. USC looks at like, hey, that Eric Musselman cat at Arkansas. And let's be honest, we all heard the rumors and the whispers and the like, I'm sorry, I got it messed up. I got a bacteria infection. Travis did not punch me.
That's right.
So those of you not watching this, my face is disfigured. Grossly disfigured. Don't watch this. So we Musselman was flirting probably a little bit too.
Yeah.
He flirted with SMU. Like
he was on the dating apps, seeing what was in this area, seeing what was out there.
He was on the Ashley Madison for college basketball coaches.
Yeah.
So he was on that, having an affair with an AD.
Yeah.
No one will know. But it got out there that he was flirting with others. So he flirted with SMU. Obviously, the USC coach beat him for that job.
Yeah.
And USC ended up going, hey, you know what? You're from here. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so Eric Musselman takes
You like to
US
hang out with famous people? We got famous people that like to hang out here.
exactly.
You
He's
want
not.
to come hang out with Will Ferrell, Snoop Dogg? You've already hung out with Snoop Dogg in Fayetteville a couple times.
Yeah,
Just come hang out with him out here.
it'll be a good. I think he'll do well there. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, he's a fun guy. But I mean that left to Arkansas. Arkansas, a very attractive job. Apparently, we offered it to Beard.
Well, and that's the thing. We start off, okay. And
Yeah.
me and Bart Reed talked last week, and pretty much the guy that everybody wanted, the guy that I wanted, you know,
I mean, I did too.
was Beard. Now, there was some morally, there was some questions about what happened at Texas. Yeah, that stuff was dropped, but why was it dropped? And so there was some hesitation a little bit the more I thought about it. But as far as on the basketball court, I thought, man, that's the guy. And then, but in the back of my mind, when I first said that, I was like, okay, we don't have a chance with Beard. But then, Clint, they started talking like we had a chance with him.
Yeah. No.
I
They
started
did.
hearing all this stuff like when Musselman came, he was thinking about coming, but he just kept going in the tournament that year. And he said this before that, Arkansas is a dream job for him. And that, and there's all these people tweeting out that there's, or Xing out, whatever you call it, that there's a real chance, and I'm thinking, man, we're going to get Chris Beard. And then our boy Keith Carter puts a tweet out of him carrying a turkey over his shoulder. He'd gone turkey hunting in Georgia.
Yeah.
And he said, bagged this beard and kept another beard from leaving. It wasn't going to happen for us.
Well, when you're in university that wants your coach to stay, you make it hard for them to leave.
Yeah.
It didn't appear like we were willing to make it hard for Eric Musselman to leave.
No.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just this season or if that welcome had just worn out.
Well, I can tell you, Clint, on as far as that goes, I can't remember if me and Bart talked about this. I don't think we did, but one of the things that came out, Kevin McPherson on Drive Time has been saying that there's a possibility Muss would leave this year, and Randy and Rick gave him a hard time about that because they were hearing different, Well, he come back on after it was official, and he said, look, that's just what I was hearing, and then he said, look, some of the pit leaders and the administrators up there are going to be willing to hold the door for him as he leaves. They're not pushing him out, but they're not going to be sad that he's gone. And Rick chimed in and said, well, he said, I will say this. And this was, Rick doesn't say a lot of negative stuff that he hears.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rick said, well, I have heard that people say that if he ever won the whole thing, that he would be impossible to deal with. So apparently there was some personality conflicts within the leadership up there of the higher ups.
Well, you think about it as you look at some of his assistants left. A lot of them left on lateral moves.
Mm-hmm.
They were lateral moves, but I thought it was actually a step down in programs.
Yeah.
And that was my opinion. But it was more than one to do it, and they would get there, work for him for a little while, and like, man, they can't. So Musselman does appear to like he's probably got an abrasive personality. Kind of like, but anyway, enough about Musselman. Let's get back to the heart of the matter. So Beard, and then there was Pootie Tang.
Yeah.
There was
Jerome Tang from
Tang,
Kansas State.
And he looked like a solid. Have you ever looked at Kansas State uniforms though in a basketball game. They'll have like they've got like light purple like jerseys with black numbers, which is fine. But their shorts almost look black. It's almost like they're a rec league team. And they go, all right, everybody just wear black shorts, and then we'll get you a jersey when you get here.
Yeah.
So, but maybe that's just me. So apparently I don't know if we get, much of a flirtation with Tang. Kansas State's like, look, we'll pay you. Don't talk to him. And then
Tang apparently Tang also said that I think that, he'd only been there for 2 years and he hated to leave too soon. And that was part of Beard's thing. He'd only been in Ole Miss for a year. He didn't want to be seen as a guy that jumped ship too soon. So
the rumors were that we were interviewing Darrell Walker, who I thought would be a good get. I think.
Well, and that's the thing. Sunday morning we wake up to Janice from Mississippi State and Darrell Walker had interviews on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's what we wake up to. And I'm with you. I would love to see Darrell Walker have a shot. I would have been happy with him personally, just to see what he could do.
But he's not. He's a big name, but he's not a big coaching name.
No.
It's just not. So
the fan base would have flipped a lid if Darrell Walker would have been the answer, especially after thinking we had Chris Beard for a couple of days.
Yeah, like you go from Chris Beard to Darrell Walker, who was the coach at Little Rock.
And when you add to the fact, okay, and you're adding this to the thought, you're reading the thoughts of the fans. Okay. Whereas not a lot of people are happy with Pittman right now. Okay. I mean, people aren't as happy with Pittman as they were.
Right.
And in that search, you start off thinking you had Lane Kiffin, and you end up with one of the best assistants in the country. Okay. Now, we were okay with that, but that was one of our first 100-year check. I mean, this was, it was a big search first big search in a while.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go through that with Musselman. Musselman was kind of a big get. We didn't have a big name before him necessarily. Beard was talked about during that, but it was understandable because Beard was in the middle of on a run to the national championship game. So we didn't get all excited thinking, oh, we got Beard. Because we were like, yeah, we'll never get Beard, but at least we're making a shot at him. Way to go, Hunter, for taking a shot at him. But with the Lane Kiffin deal, we're like, we couldn't get Kiffin. So we ended up having to get, Pittman. But everybody liked Pittman. He won the press conference. He won people over at first. But right now, people are saying, hey, he had a bad year. We don't know if Pittman's really a head coach.
Right, yeah.
We had to settle for him. Wish we would have got Kiffin way back then. And so they're reading that search into this search.
No, and that's fair. But you're like, man. So they had to settle. They go to the fifth option. Some kid out of a small school in Kentucky just getting start.
Yeah, poor little guy.
Poor little guy, spring chicken, new to the coaching game.
Yeah.
No, they got a legitimate basketball Hall of Famer. No one, if you told us when the search started, this is who we were going to have, we would all called you a liar and had you checked into a mental institution. You're like, no way.
Yeah.
That they're getting. Guys, there's no reason to keep beating around the bush. You already know it. John Calipari is the new head basketball coach at the University of Arkansas. And it's insane. It didn't seem real.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he always has one of the top 2 or 3 recruiting classes in the country. Now,
I'll tell you, Clint, this is a text I did with Bart Reed the other day. And he said, by this time it looked like Beard was out. It looked like Tang was out. At that time, Will Wade was the top guy.
Yeah.
On a lot of people's list. Okay. And he said to me, Will Wade all the way. I said, I'm leaning that way also. I said, there still may be a Brett Bielema type out there no one is talking about. Okay. And what I meant by that was a guy that I'm not comparing. Okay, Calaberry is much better than Bielema. But whenever we hired Bielema, he wasn't on anybody's list.
Yeah.
No one even knew he was looking to leave. Okay. And with Calipari, I don't think it was a total shock to Kentucky fans that he was looking to leave, maybe to some or the way they're talking now.
Yeah, well, I'll give you that.
But it was totally out of the it was out of the out of the blue. It was totally out of nowhere, I mean, it was like it wasn't on anybody's list, on he wasn't on Trey Biddy's, on 24/7 Sports or Hog Sports, their hot coaching hot board or anyone else's coaching hot board. He was just this guy that, that was just out there that, of course, we find out later that thanks to Tyson Chicken, there was connections with, and here he comes, baby. He's flying in today.
Yeah, well, I've been on the YouTube quite a bit, just listening to different talking heads talk about this. A couple things. Number one, I liken this to KJ Jefferson leaving Arkansas. It's like, man, you gave us your time. Go out, do this for you. It's like, hey, it seems like we appreciate.
You're saying that's the way Kentucky is with Cal.
Yeah, like they all agree. Like it's probably time for you to move on.
Mm.
It's probably a good time for both of us to move on. Good luck to you.
Mm.
We hate that you're in the SEC and we're going to play against you. I mean, of course, we're not doing that with KJ, but I think that's the way.
Yeah.
If you're talking to Kentucky fans today, I think that's the way they probably feel. Like, yeah, it sucks, but we get it, and I think it's best for us all to move on.
Yeah.
I really think that's been the feeling. But Kentucky's fallen a little bit behind in the NIL game. There was a big fundraiser for Kentucky. And part of the fundraiser, and they were hoping to raise $1 million. And this was NIL money. They raised $50,000.
Really?
Yeah. And so you're falling behind the NIL game. And so these kids coming in nowadays, they want to know two things. They want to know what's my NIL and what's my playing time. That's the two. They don't want to go see the cafeteria. They don't want to go see that's the reality is what they know. And with Cal, they're giving him a very nice NIL pot to basically go buy a team.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about, like he's making $7 million and they're giving him $6 million to go buy a team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but that's the landscape of sports now, where you're going to have to be like, you can get a name if you give them enough that. And now you're going to see which one was the secret to the sauce of getting all those 5 stars. Was it the institution or was it Cal? It's going to be.
Yeah.
Well,
and it was a mix of both, and it's going to be a mix of both at Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas's got some pull too. I mean, as far as
100%
being a name program.
Well, another thing that Bart Reed brought up while this was an attractive job was all the in-state talent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Several 5 stars in the state.
Yeah, he's not, or within the state, and with Texas right next door too.
Yeah.
And so which Cal's not going to have to drive far or fly far in the private jet to check on those recruits. And so that's going to be. So how do you feel about him? What's your feelings? What do you let's Because look, this is a guy that, for the most part, and I'll be honest with you, most of my fandom career I've rooted against.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you, he's been on the side that I've rooted against. I didn't root for him at Memphis. Um, I paid attention to him a little bit at UMass, but I didn't necessarily root for him there either. Um, so, and then once he left UMass and went to the pros. Well, anyway, go ahead. You talk first. What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Outside the pros, he's won everywhere.
Mm,
I mean, they UMass punched Arkansas in the mouth
yeah.
back when we had Corliss.
Mm.
I can't remember.
Camby was a beast.
Camby, and they had a guy named Rowe, real thicker guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were, and then Memphis. He brought Memphis basketball back.
Mhm.
You know, if you ask Calipari to get a little lazy and get a little set in his ways at Kentucky, he'd probably be honest with you and tell you yes.
Mhm.
He probably did. But now, if you get a motivated coach, and a lot of it, a lot of the folks, I think Boogie Cousins was talking. He was talking about how he don't think he'd had the quality assistants that he'd had in the past, as far as guys that could really go out there and drill.
Mhm.
And I think stuff like that, which was kind of a problem with Musselman too. I think worst case scenario, we're going to be a top 20 basketball team year in, year out. This is worst case scenario. Get a 4 seed in the tournament and get bounced in the round of 32.
Yeah.
That's the floor. I mean, every now and then you're going to be the 2 seed to get beat by 15 or 13 to get beat by 14.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it happens.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think
home run grand slam hire.
I think it's a huge hire. I agree with you. And like I said, the things that I didn't like about him, okay. When he left UMass and when he left Memphis, he left them both under sanctions. They had to pay for the sanctions of things that he did. And he went off to bigger and better jobs scot-free. Okay. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Now, however, the sanctions, as far as I understand, and I haven't researched them to see exactly what the sanctions were for, but I'm figuring most of them were for stuff that's probably legal now to do. Yeah. So, I mean, most of it was recruiting stuff that he could probably, although except for the time when he supposedly had a lookalike take Derrick Rose's ACT for him and at Memphis. That hasn't done that. That was a little shady. But anyway, one of the things about Cal is, of course, his high school recruiting. He gets the best players. His, like you mentioned, his recruiting classes are always ranked high. And they seem to grow under him. They seem to learn and grow in their basketball playing. They also seem very dedicated to him once they leave. Another thing I heard a guy bring up, and this was on ESPN's national radio show. He said, look, the type of guys he has, and this is I forget who this person was that said this, but he said the type of guys he has are guys that you would trust to babysit your kids. He said the guys that have come through his program are the type of guys that are just good guys. He said like Anthony Davis and some of those are just guys that they're just good guys. They're not, I mean, they're not, they're, just good quality men. And that to me, that says a lot. That matters a lot. Because I want that in the people I root for.
I'm gonna put you on the record right now. John Calipari's got a 5-year contract and like basically it's a 7-year contract. He's got 2-year rollover. So we'll say he's going to be here 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many Final Fours does he make in 7 years?
In my mind, I'm vacillating between 2 and 3. I'm gonna say 2.
I'm gonna also say 2.
Yeah. But here's the other thing with John Calipari. Here's what you get with Calipari. You know, I'm a Yankees fan.
Yep.
One of the reasons, and one of the reasons I love being a Yankees fan. Okay. Now I didn't start off thinking this way when I became a fan. I became a fan because Don Mattingly was my guy, and so I just started rooting for him. But one of the reasons is I'm also a fan of the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm also a fan of the Cleveland Browns. Okay. And those two teams,
they hurt you a lot, don't they?
They hurt me a lot, and there's no consistency, right? Like the Browns have popped up and made the playoffs a couple times in the last, 20 something years. Okay. But they're not putting their money and their efforts into putting the best team out there. The ownership, their leadership, they're getting just subpar results. What I love about the Yankees is every season we go into the season thinking we have a chance for postseason play. And everybody in the world thinks the Yankees have a chance for postseason play. What we got in Cal is a guy leading the helm at the Razorbacks that we're going to go into every season thinking we got a chance because of who we have at the helm.
Well, we got that on the hill right now already.
With Dave Van Horn.
Dave Van Horn.
Yes.
And segueing from Coach Cal to Van Horn, holy cow, this baseball team's good.
Yeah.
They are freaking good. I mean, this is listen, they're going to host a super regional. They're going to be in line to host super regional, but they got to get there. It is hard to win a national championship in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a team that can do it.
Yeah.
You've watched a lot of baseball through the years, especially as we started doing this podcast. We've seen some good Arkansas teams. We've seen Heston Kjerstad. I'm brain farting on kid from Greenbrier's name, Caden Wallace, Jalen Battles. I mean, we've seen all these studs.
Yeah.
Is this the best Arkansas team you've seen?
I think so. I think it's the most well-rounded. And here's a couple of reasons. First of all, the thing that everybody's talking about with this team is the depth in pitching. Awesome, right? Not just Hagen Smith, which he's amazing, but the fact that everybody out there is looking really good. And, that some of them will have their inning or two of bad times, which everybody has.
Yeah.
But just the consistency of this pitching staff right now is amazing.
Well, Hagen Smith gave up 2 runs, and everybody talks about Hagen Smith.
Yeah.
He gave up 2 runs, and it was a bad game for him.
Yeah.
He's a bad game. He gave up 2 earned runs and struck out 10 or something like that. And it was an all.
Yeah. And then the other thing, Clint, that excites me about this team is when we need to, we're playing small ball. Where this team is a lot more willing to hit a sacrifice fly and put a sacrifice bunt down and hit behind the runners to push guys around. Whereas in the past, we would get up there and we had good hitting teams, but they were good at hitting home runs. And so all they would do if they were feast or famine, they would get up there and they'd hit a home run when they had some guys on the base, or they would strike out. That was it, And so this team to me is a lot more willing to do whatever it takes to score those runs. And they have the ability to do that. Okay. Some of it I know in the past was probably those guys didn't practice those things. They just practiced hitting as hard as they could. And these guys seem to be more well-rounded hitters. Now they're still not, there's still some improvement needs to happen in the hitting game, and they're not always that way. But when you mix the pitching with what they're doing in the hitting, I'm excited to see the rest of the season, man. I'm excited to see it. It's going to be good to watch for sure.
No, it is. It is really fun to watch. I mean, just I can't say enough good things about the pitching staff. And they've got that one kid, I'm blank on his name, and he's a left-handed relief pitcher. Like when they have a big left-handed out, they need in the ninth.
Mm.
They bring this guy in, and he's been just lights out with it. It's like they know their roles and they're performing their roles to perfection. And they're scaring me because they're being almost too good right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the problem. Like, we're going to need them to lose a game or two.
Yeah.
Just because, but they're looking just lights out. So, well, Travis, that leaves us with only one coach that we could even say would be on the hot seat. But he seemed like he made some good moves in the offseason.
Yeah.
To cool the seat down a little bit. So Sam Pittman.
Yeah.
Spring practice is going on, and I'm telling you earlier before we started the podcast, it seems like it's almost football's king in Arkansas, but this is almost the number 3 event right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah, it is. Hearing good things coming out. Let's talk about a couple of the positives, and then I'll hit on a negative. The big thing, the offensive line, they're really talking positive about them, that they're gelling together and seem to be doing a good job, that there's less pressure on the quarterbacks than there was last year. So that's been good. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Landon Jackson, got married.
Yeah, friend of the program.
Yeah, so congratulations to him. So he's been out. I think he's missing a couple practices because of that. But another positive, of course, is the receivers seem to be really gelling.
Yeah.
You've heard a lot about Armstrong and Broden from the very beginning. Petrino really likes them. You've heard a lot about Luke Haas from the beginning. His tight end, he loves him. But now I'm starting to get some highlights and hear some things about Tesla doing well. And some other in Satanga, of course, who was it? I guess it was DJ Williams was on the radio talking about him the other day, Satanga. And he said, I think Petrino had been interviewed about him, and he compared him to a little bit to Joe Adams what's his name? Who did I just say?
You said Joe Adams.
No, the other tight end for Arkansas.
Haas.
No, DJ Williams. DJ Williams was asked about that, and he said, yeah, he said he's a lot like Joe, except for with the speed wise. He said, except he's probably not as tough as Joe, which Joe was, Joe could play running back too, when he was
going to go to USC as a corner and play for Pete Carroll.
Yeah. But he said he's probably got better hands than Joe. So that says a lot, because Joe wasn't. That's the one thing you worry about, guys with speed like that sometimes,
Yeah. And I did I listened to Pittman's press conference. He talked about he's Eric's GA.
Yeah. Yeah. He keeps saying that. Yeah.
Well, and if you ever notice, you watch the video, he's over there watching the offensive line, which I think is what needed to be done. Because, he probably tried to step in too late last year and he knew it.
Yeah.
Because you get to a point, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
So if I'm Sam Pittman and I'm on the hot seat, I'd be dadgummed if I'm going to get fired because my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For
you
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would listen.
Yeah.
Everything else can burn down, but this right here is going to be a point of pride.
This is going to be good. Yeah.
This is going to be good. And I think he knows that. I think he realizes that. And then I think bringing a guy like an experienced guy like Petrino in was a great move. It does sound like QB1 is settled.
Well, but here's where my concern is.
Okay.
Okay, because everybody's fired up about him, but his completion percentage in practice is not good.
Yeah, I mean,
in practice, Clint, in a Bobby Petrino practice. Okay. Now you got to remember when Ryan Mallett was up there, okay, and Zach and Tyler Wilson and all of those guys, and even Casey Dick that first year, they were completing in practices the way Petrino likes to make the offense look good in practice. Okay. And they were completing like 80-90% of their passes in practice.
Yeah.
Okay. So he skews it to make the offense look good. And now he may have changed that, but in that scrimmage Saturday, Green was right around 50%.
Well, I'm not too worried about that. I'm really, really not, because I don't think Pittman's going to let them script a practice or a scrimmage that's going to favor the offense, because Pittman's going to put them in as much adversity as possible. Yeah. And I think Pittman, of more than anything, is a head coach. He might be the offensive line GA, but he's also a head coach over the entire team.
Yeah.
And
you may be right, but that's still like, and on the dailies, he's his percentages though aren't too good, and so
well, if you're speaking of that, that makes what we're talking about, after that so much more important, is who is going to be the number 2.
Yeah.
If there's a game where Green's just not getting done and you have to pull him and put it in there. And Pittman made it clear there's some days Malachi Singleton looks like he has the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Some days Chris Well, and then he goes, man, the KJ Jackson's in there too.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting, and I do think you guys also got to keep in mind is in practice, Willie Robinson? Everybody wanted to free Willie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, no, he wasn't exactly. I would take Travis Williams over Willie Robinson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think they're playing as better defenders than probably what they had to. Not making excuses, but I can see the concern. I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that we could look back on and say, well, the warning was there.
Well, he wasn't known for incredible accuracy to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all hoping Petrino can get in and work with him and make him something.
Well, and two, he may make up for some of that accuracy on his ability to run the ball whenever live action starts.
Yeah, because that's the thing about Ryan Mallett wasn't going to scramble and get you a first down.
No.
Tyler Wilson wasn't going to scramble and get you a first down.
No.
So he's a little bit different quarterback when you factor in the run.
And they've admitted they don't really know exactly what he can do running the ball yet, because they haven't had him in live action. Yeah. They haven't taken that black jersey off of him yet, to where he could just go all out and take on guys. So when he's able to do that, because Pittman keeps referring back to KJ Jefferson, whenever they first let him in a game, they didn't know what kind of runner he was, because they wouldn't let him, and he needed the contact, and he was known for running after contact. So anyway, so that's but like I said, that's just something I'm just bringing that up, not to dog on Green, not to say that Green's going to lose the job or anything like that. All I'm saying is, folks, just let's temper our excitement. Let's not give the guy the Heisman Trophy yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it to him.
I mean, and let's remember, something I had to remind myself is that when I listen to these press conferences, when I listen to, how things are going, I get excited about it. I have to remind myself that what this team looked like last year and the hope we had for them last year.
But I
So,
think but here's the thing: you can look at what the problem was, and you can pinpoint it pretty quick.
well,
The
you
offense,
hope you can. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
there may be other stuff, but I think
Well,
it sounds like that's been
well,
fixed.
it sounds like some of the problem was unknown stuff in the locker room. Okay.
Yeah,
And so, how is that fixed really?
yeah.
How is that? They say that there's a different feeling and all that kind of stuff, that some of the ones that were causing that problem are gone. I mean, the big obvious one, of course, was the offensive line. I mean, that was a huge one,
Yeah.
but it was more than that,
No, for
and
sure.
it was more than that. And they seem to be working on a lot of that stuff. I mean, especially the blocking stuff. I mean, they talk about how much they're working on the blocking with the running backs and blocking with the tight ends better. So, like I said, hopefully they're getting things fixed, but you still got to wonder, is there enough talent on this team to, where does the talent going to let them fall in the SEC? Where's it going to let them land? Is it going to, are they going to win more games than they did last year? Are they going to win significantly more than they did last year? That's still to be seen.
I've got them going undefeated.
You would.
Eternal home.
Yes, right.
We're never going to lose another game again in any sport, Travis. We're going on a run, kid.
That's right.
We're going to be like undefeated in like club hockey.
Speaking of, yeah, the big three of coaches, they're gonna, and we were talking about before how big and how happy we were with the coaches we had,
Yeah.
There for a while. And of course, Van Horn is consistent in who he is. We're happy with him. And then, we were kind of wondering about Musselman and Pittman. I mean, Pittman was so much higher. Of course, now we look, man, we just added to, the coaches at University of Arkansas are so much better. I mean, well, we got the highest paid college basketball coach now, or one of, I don't know.
We only made him 7. It seems like, but I think, like I said, it seemed like the NIL pot was the big thing, and it's crazy to think.
Well, he's got incentives that are going to push him up.
Yeah, they're really talking that they really see Tyson, JB Hunt, and Walmart getting a little bit more aggressive, especially in terms of NIL money.
Yeah.
That's about to start happening. So,
but see, that makes me wonder, how aggressive are they going to be on the remodel for Bud Walton now? Yeah. If they're going to be more aggressive on NIL, then are they going to be more aggressive? Where are you going to get your money for your buildings and stuff?
But see, kids care about that, but they care, I think, a whole lot more about
playing. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think the NIL matters more. And that's why they're going to do that. But those administrators, they really like to put names on buildings. They really like to brag about the buildings they have. You know what I mean? And so, and they like to do fundraisers for buildings because that's what keeps them in a job. Okay.
No, but you're right. Things definitely kicked up a lot. But so probably you won't hear this after, or I think you'll probably hear Calipari's presser first before you hear this podcast. But I'm looking forward to hearing his press conference. I imagine he's going to command the room.
Oh yeah,
he's going to win the press conference. I look forward to it. I never would have thought John Calipari would wind up in Arkansas from Kentucky, but here we go. I'm
well, really, and the thing is, Clint, it's kind of a reversal from Eddie Sutton.
Yeah.
Too, especially if Cal does well.
Yeah.
If Cal comes in and does well, then it's a reversal of Eddie Sutton. It's he was doing big things at Arkansas and left to go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we're getting a chance to reverse that.
Yeah. I honestly think, Travis, me and you, we're going to come back on here next week and we'll do a podcast, and how we feel about next season will change. Because right now we got Cal. We'll know who the team is a little bit more next week.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't have a roster.
We don't have a roster. We've got to walk on.
And he's going to, there's some rumors of, some of his top recruits. I know one of them has decommitted from Kentucky, and Arkansas was in his top 8. So he was already being recruited by Arkansas before Kentucky got him. So, there's going to be some of those guys, which guys of our guys that went in the portal are going to be willing to come back. Is he going to be able to talk Blocker and Battle and Marks into coming back?
Yeah.
Is another one is, a guy that during this whole thing, especially about the time Calipari, Devo Davis had himself, working out at the Razorback facility, some videos he put on social media. Is he going to try to come back? We don't know yet. And is Cal going on?
We will know a lot more about the way this basketball season is going to go next week.
I have a feeling that Trevin Brazile got word that he didn't want him.
I do too.
Because Brazile went to the NBA and said he was hiring an agent. So he's going to make a push to try to get noticed, I guess, which in workouts, he's going to look awesome.
He will look awesome. So, buddy, made it through another one.
Yeah, man.
Made it through
big things are happening.
I have now made it to one podcast in a row.
One in a row. That's right.
One in a row. So.
Well, folks, please like, share, comment, subscribe.
All that stuff.
We need you on, especially those of y'all that watch this on YouTube, subscribe, share it on your social media stuff. That helps us big time. And so we need your help. I mean, look at us. Clint's eyes janky.
Yeah, I know.
My eyes always janky. So, we need some help. So, no, seriously. Big thanks to, once again, to Bart Reed last week. Big thanks to, hey, man, let's, Hometown Roofing always.
Hometown Roofing always there for
Give them a call, and they can hook you up. We've had Clint, how'd you enjoy the eclipse?
I did enjoy the eclipse. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was like
the world didn't end.
No. I did post the picture of myself like this with this eye on my Facebook page and said they weren't lying about staring at the eclipse.
Yeah.
And then I also put, by the way, there's nobody left, save yourselves.
Yeah. I thought about going up to Russellville.
I heard it was saying they got it. I don't think tourism here in Greenbrier and Conway wasn't what they thought it would be, but Russellville got it pretty good.
Well, there was 338 people there got married.
Oh, wow.
During the eclipse.
A bunch of weirdos.
I just walked up there and see if I could find me somebody to marry me during the eclipse. I don't know.
You could have been hitched. It could have been over. You could have been an old married man.
But, as a guy who is a license to marry people, I'm sort of sad I missed out on that opportunity to make a little side money there.
Yeah.
Because I think just one person.
I can perform ceremonies.
One person performed at the same time. So it's just one person at the microphone performing all those ceremonies. And I think they had to pay him or her, I don't know who it was, but they had to pay them a certain amount to do it. Man, all you need is a sound system, a microphone, and the rest of it takes care of itself.
Start signing that like boom.
Yeah, man. And then you just sign all the licenses afterwards and you're good to go.
Missed the boat, my friend.
Man, I could have made some bank.
Yeah, you could have.
Man, That was a good idea by them. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll just keep trying to make it on a awesome podcast.
There you go. Well, yeah.
Well, folks,
bigger team money. That don't make
subscribe, like, share. That way I don't have to go marry crazy people when eclipse happens.
Exactly.
And I can't make money on that until 2045. And that's going to be in Florida or something. So
Yeah.
who wants to go there? Florida.
Yeah.
Like they got something there to go see.
Florida man.
Florida. They got
Florida man.
huge snakes and gators.
Alligators.
They still do have some Shoney's restaurants.
They do.
I could tear up some Shoney's. Hey, see y'all.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come.
Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating down so hard.